So welcome everybody. This is Clear Vision Wednesday time. I am Claudia Mühlenweg. I'm the creator of the Naturally Clear Vision Method. And make sure to subscribe and like this video. We are going live every Wednesday for my Clear Vision Wednesday show, where I talk about natural vision improvement, all kinds of things, all kinds of topic related to your eyesight, your vision. And this month, in October 24, we focus on children's vision. And I'm bringing a guest on that. She was here already twice before. Before I bring her on, I want to share a few things about her. So Judith Balz is a vision educator. She's a hypnotherapist and a pedagogue, like working with children in Germany. And she has extensive experience working with children. So Judith, welcome to the show.
Hello. Thank
Yeah,
you for inviting me, Claudia.
Thank you so much. It's late in Germany. I know you're live streaming from Germany where it's 9 p.m. So we really appreciate you being here. So before we get going, I have a couple interesting little stories. So I had a squint. Today's topic is children's vision and mostly strabismus, what we would call cross-eyed, but the eyes can also go to the side. So cross-eyed, it's just the common layman's term. Some people, the official term is strabismus. Basically, the eyes are not aligned. And I had a squint, right, a strabismus in my right eye. And when my older daughter was born, she had the same thing. And I got stuck into glasses like I was 3 years old. I was traumatized. And then my parents said, "You got to take her to the doctor." And I did the exact opposite. I was like, no, let's see. And she has no vision problems at all. So that was probably not the smartest thing too, but what kind of signs should parents look for other than obviously, what kind of things should parents look for when they know, like with their child, when it comes to strabismus?
Yeah, especially it's when they get tired. So one eye turned in or out, and then parents say, she's tired. But mostly it's the beginning of strabismus. And that was the same with me. As when I was a child, I had this eye turning in when I was tired. And when I was 6 years, my parents, they discovered that one eye is very weak. So it was maybe it was strabismus. I don't know. But if that's the result, that maybe one eye gets very weak because one eye is then the strong eye. And if you don't want to have double vision, so one eye is under pressure and can't see. This is one important thing. The other thing is, I thought about your question. um, Sometimes it comes very immediately that the eyes make chick and chick. So when they get suddenly one eye gets in and gets out, it's also a sign. And maybe it's more important to say what is important to look at it, that people don't come into crossed eyes. So it's sometimes when little children, they're lying on one side the whole time and in their bed when they are very young, so short, maybe the first year. So it's very important to turn them, that they look from this side and that side.
Mm-hmm.
That's very important. Also, when they are 6 months, and they start to crawl and rubbing and crawling, this is the best integration of two eyes. So it's right side, right hand and left knee, and when we are rubbing, so this is the time when the eyes combined together. And also, if the baby is on the hands and on the knees, it's the first, if they took the head up, it's the first time that there is stable vision, expand stable vision. So if they don't learn this, yes, there is maybe it can be that that there is less development in a good vision. Sometimes the parents say, yes, yes, no, my kid is also crawled, and but it was like on the butt, so like the tick, 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 like this.
Oh.
And this is not really crawling. So you have to be on the knees and you have to be on the hands. And these are questions I ask parents, for example. And if they forget to crawl and you can make exercises later that they learn it later, so to integrate the
That is really
brains and
helpful.
therefore the eyes.
We will talk a little bit more about approaches to do that. And funny for in my own history, in my own journey, because I don't have my old childhood glasses anymore either, but I know I wore them all the time. And I think I was really good at crawling, but I didn't walk for like until I was 18 months. My parents thought I would never walk. And my feet were like, my legs were pigeon-toed. So my left eye was straight, my right eye was in. But I think what you said, my squint was more intermittent, like it wasn't always. But I don't know either. But when I look at childhood pictures, back in the day when we were born, there was no iPhone and no, we just had
Mm.
very few photos, and usually they were taken and like we were all posing. There wasn't that kind of like, in the moment snapshot. So sometimes we don't really know anymore exactly what was going on. So is it important to address this as early on, or what is your experience? You work with a lot of children. So is it
Yeah.
to do it as early as possible? And yeah, tell
Yeah,
us about.
yeah, I have the view for it, and I often tell parents, also relatives, I say, I see something with the child. There is something, and they do nothing. And yes, I think 3, 4, 5 years later, they say, Judith, you are right. They have crossed eyes. So you can see it, and it's better to start at that point when you see that an eye is turning in or out, and you can start with little movements to help the eye, if it turn in, to come out, playing. So in between the day, if you're doing you go with your children to school or to the playing ground, and you can say, come, we train a little bit, or we make a little exercise. And if you do it very softly without pressure, it's a good way to start early. Or you can jetzt now I need a what is that when your child is on the Wickelkommode?
Oh, the changing table. I know
The
you're not in
changing table.
changing
Okay.
table. Yeah,
Then you
yeah.
can do really nice eye exercise. So you can play with the eyes. So I've done that with my son. He had nothing, but I want to 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 yes, to help him to have good vision, and he has really good vision.
I mean, I think it takes up to like 15, 16 years of age to even fully develop the visual system, as far as I know. I'm not a child vision expert, but I know
Which
that
which age? Which age?
like up to age 15, it's like the whole, like looking up close is something that's why babies don't even have, we have the black and white things hanging over.
Yeah, but the eye movement is very, very early. You can read
But the whole,
this
like the whole
in my book. So
integration.
it's really early that they can move their eyes and that they follow something. It's
Right, right,
much
right.
earlier. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I don't mean that, but the whole visual system by the time
Yeah,
it's integrated.
yeah.
So because we had, when I was little, there was no mobile, so there was nothing hanging over my crib or, and I think even when my daughter was born, we got that black and white mobile because initially they don't see colors that well and they need to learn, and movement is important. But I love what you said, going to the sides, because,
Yeah. Mm.
usually the thing hangs over the middle of the crib, and then, there is this kind of like, it's almost like practicing converging, but looking pretty close at the thing. So that's also interesting. You know what I mean? Maybe I love what you're saying about doing more movement. When
Mhm.
I was a baby, I remember this very vividly. I would just, I would be on my back, and I never sleep on my back now, ever. I always sleep on my side. But I would just do this with my head. I would just like a few times, and I got really dizzy. And I think it was me as a baby trying to like
Yeah.
So I don't know what I was trying to do, but I had apparently no hair on the back of my skull. So who knows what I was doing? So let's talk a little bit about, because when I got inquiries about working with children, it was always about like what exercises
Mhm.
can we do? And I would love to hear your approach when you start, let's say there's a family coming in from a homeopathic doctor that refers them, or from the school, or like how do you start when kids don't walk in your office by themselves, right? They come with their parents or their mom,
Mhm. Mhm.
so or their dad. So how do you start working with a child? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. Today it's because I do this since 25 years. Today I am very strict maybe. So if a mom call me, I say, okay, I walk with the child, and I walk with you as a mother or with you as parents, and it changes. And I start this time mostly with the parents without to see the child. So I invite the parents and we talk about how it will go. So I asked all the questions about the development of the eyes and when it starts and all this stuff, history. And then I ask also things like if there is some special, if they have some stress, because this is a really important theme. And sometimes I ask if how about the relationship. I tell them that sometimes it's that the parents are very different, so that mom is the education of the child is totally different to the education of the father, and mostly they say yes, there is a big different between us. I'm so and he is so, and sometimes we discuss it, and um, sometimes separation is yeah, they talk about that, or there is still a separation. So this is often combined with crossed eyes children in my case. So I don't know if it's ever like that, but so we talk about this themes. And afterwards, the children comes to me maybe with the mother, but if it's a little older, that is very new in my praxis, so that I say it's better, I can better work with the child itself,
Mhm.
because it took me a long time, but the mother, if the mother is sitting beside, and special maybe mother from cross-eyed children, they are very controlled, so they always look if the children do everything right, and so the pressure is still there, and
Mhm.
it's much easier to work with the child when the mother is a little bit away. And last time in my garden, I have a very nice mom at that time, and she said, okay, I'm sitting a little some meters far away. So she was sitting in the sun, and I worked with her daughter, and she said afterwards, oh, I've seen and I heard she was so open. She was totally different than I was with in this lesson. So it was really good that she could look at it and see that it was really totally different. And so it's better to work with the child itself.
So you basically work with the parents, maybe one of them or together with the parents, you talk about their relationship. And I just, as a little anecdote, again, I have not done this as much, but I've done a little bit of work with children. And I remember a particular couple where the dad would always tell the daughter, put the glasses on, put the glasses on. The mom would say, take the glasses off. And the poor girl was totally
Oh my
confused.
God.
So yeah. So sometimes it's more like it's almost like you have to work, with the parent. Like I understand what you're saying. It's very important, first of all, that they're on the same page, but also have you noticed how the relationship between their parents, but also the relation, like the whole family dynamics, right? What is the relationship to the child? Uh,
Mhm, mhm,
have
mhm.
have any stories? I always feel it's great to hear some stories of how.
Stories, yes. I had one child, she said, immediately in the middle of the lesson, the mom was there and the child, and she said, "Don't look at me so." So she liked her, she don't like the view of her mom because it was so strong and so controlled. And she said that often also at home. So, and for me, it was also a very controlled mom. She always looked if everything is right, and she controlled me as well. And
Mm.
therefore I said it's not possible. I have to work with her alone. Um, yeah, but pressure is a big theme in this case because I always say it's so important to take pressure out of the system, take pressure out of the relationship, take pressure out of the relationship to the child. Because also this mom I told from the other, she said, I ask a child, Mm, this it was the child he draw a picture. So I said, on one side, please draw me a picture when you feel well with your vision. And on this side, draw a picture if you don't feel well. And in the middle, you draw a picture. It's a crossover from the
Ah,
uncomfortable to the comfortable. And so she draw these pictures, and afterwards I ask her, what are you doing if you feel uncomfortable? What are you doing at home? And she said, I'm going to the horses or to the cats. But she don't say I go to mom or to dad. And
mm.
when the mom left, I thought, she didn't talk that, or she didn't said that she go to mom or to dad. Strange. And when the mom came back, she asked me the same question. She said, "Oh, I thought about when I went off, of your praxis. I thought about that, and I thought she didn't say she comes to me or to my husband." And yes, and she hoped that I say, "Oh, that's okay. That's no, it's usual for the age or so." But I said, yes, it was the same with me. I thought this also, and she, so, and I think the reason is that there is no place for it. If she's sad, and this was
Mm.
a really important learning for the mother, because she knows now that she has to give room for her daughter if she don't feel well. And this was a really big step, because she said, "Oh yes, that's true. I always said, come on, do you get it? But if the daughter is sad or don't feel well, she got not enough room with her mom. She don't listen to her, or it was a really important step."
I think that is a really important point. And, having, you're a parent, I'm a parent, my daughters are now in their 20s. I was a single parent when they were really little, and you really do your best. So sometimes, it's a huge thing for the parents too. And sometimes, we get defensive because we try our best. But I think that's a huge revelation. And there's also probably some sadness on the side of the parents that the child doesn't come to them. But yeah, so it's really, really deep work, right? It's not really
Yeah,
exercises,
no.
it's not like it's,
Yeah,
uh, you
it's
know,
it's more psychotherapy a little bit, or talking about. I think it's talking about the system. I had in former times a very young couple. They came to me online, and they were still separated. And they had big problems with each other. And also, it was very difficult for them to handle their cross-eyed child. And then I helped them to talk to each other and to find ways to handle this with the kids. And I also helped, I said, you don't have to um,
the I,
close these eyes the whole time.
yeah.
You can take an iPad, and in this time you have very nice time with your child. So also for the father, because he often, fathers, they, I don't know, sometimes they don't know what to do with their child. And I said, only this time, make this a very nice time. So if the child have the iPad, you draw together or you play together. And they were so thankful and so glad. And this was a really, really nice work, because they both, could handle it with each other, the problems much better, and also they have really good ways to play with the child. Yes, they always been together in the online lesson. That was really nice.
That is great. So you're talking a lot about using an iPad, which is often used for lazy eye or amblyopia. But I'm also curious, so what success stories have you found? Like, how, and are there any like exercises when it comes to depth perception? Like I remember being the clumsy kid, I would bump into things, and because my eyes weren't aligned well, so I didn't have good way of seeing depth. Which is that, do you do any kind of training with the depth perception as well, or what
What
other?
is depth perception?
It's
What is
like
depth?
3D vision, like seeing things, like so you see it three-dimensionally.
3D. Ah, okay.
Have one eye,
Yes.
you cannot see that, or if they
Yeah.
work
Yeah,
together.
that is a very important story from my former it's not a story, not a story with parents or child. When we had in our association, we had meetings, and we had one person, she trained children with crossed eyes. It's in former times in Germany, we had schools, medical schools, but they still not anymore here. And she said that that's not good to train both eyes. With crossed eyes children, you have to train one eye, another eye, and one eye,
Mhm.
another eye. And she said the rest has to do the brain. So you
Mhm.
don't do
Right,
anything with binoculary or 3D vision. You only train one eye and another eye, and the brain do the rest. You can do brain work like
right.
crossover, yes, brain gym, and all this stuff is really, really good for crossed eyes children.
Okay, great. So you do incorporate some brain gym, some kind of like you talked about crawling,
Yeah,
crossover.
clapping games, they are really funny. In Germany, we have, I don't know.
Oh, I remember that. I don't know how to do it anymore, the clapping.
You have to look, please look, YouTube videos, clapping games. They are so funny stuff. I've done today something.
Okay. So this is
So,
good, basically, because I remember too, like as a cross-eyed child, I remember like later when in my 20s, when aerobics was really big in the 80s, and I could never, by the time, they would do these things with the arms and those things with
yeah,
the legs. By the time
yeah,
I figured out, they were on to the next thing. It's like, so this stuff, so I think what you're saying also make it fun, make it games. So
yeah.
there's psycho-emotional work that is really the relationship, like the dynamics, and then there's also the what, I don't like the word exercise, but the kind of like get playful,
Playing
make it,
games. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
okay.
So this is also it's a game. If you can catch this with your eyes, it's a game. If you throw balls into a bucket with one eye, it's a game. Yes, and this is really something which is very exercising the eyes. If you throwing balls with one eye and you try to put it into a bucket, that is what I always do with children, and they
And
have
that
so
is
fun.
challenging because you don't have 3D vision at that case. So
Yes,
challenges, but not overwhelming, right? It's like it's that sweet spot of not doing too much and just enough so that they
yeah,
have
but
success.
children with crossed eyes, they can do it better because they often look only with
Oh,
one
okay.
eye. So they have a good result at the beginning with one eye, and with the other it's not so. But therefore it's not so difficult for them. It has success, or they have success
But
with
then
it.
you start eventually you do it with both eyes. So you work with each eye separately and then
Yeah,
you do.
and then with both eyes. Yes.
Okay. So
One
lots of
eye, two eyes. And also
okay.
this one is really nice, but more with a little bit older children, not too young, I think school children.
Oh, that was a
But
cool one. So it has letters on
yeah,
it.
they had letters on it, and but very important is that the child is lying down.
Ah,
Marianne Windel and me, we made further education for crossed eyes or for binocularity, and she developed, or she, yes, she said that it's very important that the children lying down on the bottom, not sitting, because
uh-huh.
if they sit, they have to hold their neck and their head up, and they can't do it. If children look, cross-eyed children, they look like this, and they can't do it because this is so very important to, or very difficult for them to, sitting upside and looking. It's really difficult.
What
It's
age are you
because they,
talking about with that
yeah,
like
it's also with the 7 years old
7?
children.
Okay.
Yes, and they mostly, if you look, they have a very tense neck. All the crossed-eyed children have a very, very much tension in the neck. And that is the reason that I always send them to the osteopathic in Germany. So they work with the skull and with the neck to release the muscles. And this is really, really good if they help me, so we can come from this and this side. And I have a neighbor. She is oh, physiotherapy
Oh, it's like a physical therapist.
therapist, and she said, Judith, very good what you are doing, because sometimes I try to move the head of my people, but nothing goes. But when I say move first the eyes, then I can also move the neck. So there is a big combination or combining between eyes and neck. So if one muscle is strong, the eyes can't move, or if or the other way around also.
I don't see any questions right now, but I do really want to quickly say, so osteopathic treatments in Europe are very soft, gentle, a lot of cranial sacral kind of work,
Yeah, cranial
soft
sacral therapy.
with the osteopath, and they would hold my hand for like 15 minutes. Like in America, it's a very different system. It's more medical doctors. So I just want nobody. So this is like body work. Think more of cranial
Yeah,
sacral, like
yeah,
aligning. So quick question. So a lot of times, obviously, that when the parents take the child to the doctor, then the eye doctor says they need surgery, we need to straighten the eyes. So obviously, I would assume that you also say that doesn't address the problem because now the eyes are straight, but it doesn't mean the brain actually knows how to use the eyes together.
yeah.
Um,
But for
right?
us, it's very difficult to say anything because it's not allowed for us in Germany to give advice for children.
Right.
So this is in former time, it was very difficult for me. Today, I'm very clear. I say, this is the doctor's advice, and you can learn relaxation, you can learn mental things, and also things for the soul. So I help you with that. And and this is the hard thing for the parents, you have to make your decision. I can't do the decision for you. And I do nothing in this direction because I don't want.
It
Here's the
makes sense.
doctor. Yes. And most of the time now the parents they came to me when they just have the decision that they said, they say to me, I want to
Wow.
go your way. So,
And
but it's easy.
I'm curious about the success rates, like in terms of the parents that you work with, that you help with, and you do all the mental, physical, emotional, soul work, the relationship work, you do all that. So how many of those do you feel like this has been the right approach, or do you still feel like some people, or let me ask you a little differently. Do you
Mhm.
always work with parents when their child already had the surgery? Because what you and I
I
know,
know.
a lot of times the squint comes back. So they do the
Ah,
surgery.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Have you
No, in former times, it's long, long time ago. It was once a time that I had a father. He came, it's 20 years or more ago, more than 20 years. And I made really nice work with him. And afterwards, the father told me that they now make the surgery, and I was very depressed. But
Mhm.
he said, it was just such a good work, and it's also good if a surgery, if parents, yes, if they decide that it's getting a surgery, it's a good preparation. But all the other times, no, nobody afterwards. It's happened not anymore
Okay.
because mostly the eye is getting better. And now in the last case, and that's typical for the way that the eyes is longer and longer in line.
Mhm.
It's sometimes out, but longer and longer. And if parents understand that they can read the mood of the child in their eyes, so that they see, okay, now she's afraid because the eye is going in the middle, or now I do too much pressure. If they can read this, mostly it changed in a good way. So
That was a what we call a mic drop, what you just said. It's like if parents learn to read the mood of their child in their eyes, I think that is just a pure gold.
yes.
Really understanding how, the dynamics, you talk about pressure a lot. Usually we talk about pressure in connection with glaucoma, but I think this is
Hmm.
very, like, there is a lot of pressure on children nowadays, right? With
Hmm.
academia, being good in school. I mean, it was
Hmm.
always, but now it's even more
Yeah.
about university, getting degrees, like all the things. There's a lot of pressure when it comes. I feel like kids, do you sometimes recommend different schooling? Because I don't know, I'm just want to share when I worked with maybe 10 children over, I didn't do that much, right? And that was my mostly 10 years ago. So a lot of times the child confessed that they were really unhappy. They hated the school. It was a
Mm.
very academic school. Do you sometimes recommend a different type of school, or is that what is your opinion about those? Because that's obviously a big decision that pe parents cannot always make.
Yes, when I think about that, I had the last parents or child, they had this before the school changes. They changed a
Ah,
lot.
they
Yes.
a lot. Okay.
And this is always stress for a child to change
Right.
a lot the schools. And sometimes I don't know if this was the idea of the parents or of the
Ah,
child, because we had some problems in the Corona
yeah.
time. So some parents had problems with schools, and they changed the child to another school, but it was not good because the
Right.
child has all the friends on this school, and I don't know. Yeah, but I don't what you mean if there's too much pressure in school. Yeah, but that's not so important yet in my
Oh,
case.
okay. Okay. Yeah. I found
Yeah,
Waldorf schools or Montessori schools to usually be
yeah,
less
yeah.
pressure and
Mm.
versus
Yeah,
traditional.
yeah. This is very interesting. I was
Yeah.
in the Waldorf school, and the teacher I made a vision training in the class of in the class of my son, and then I recognized that there are less pupils with glasses, very less. It's
Very few
really
people.
interesting
Yeah.
because they work with the not five, with the 12 senses. So there is not much problems with the eyes in this school.
That's what I'm
Very
saying.
interesting.
I noticed that too. Montessori is very
Yeah,
sensory and
yeah,
they work, so there's less like just looking at books and studying and multiple
yeah,
choice.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Was
That's less.
talking about in terms of
Yeah.
like supporting the child because
Mm.
I mean, especially in America, they spend sometimes like, all day in school. And if the school is a very academic, high pressure
Yeah. Oh,
environment,
yeah. The
it's
more the
not
glasses, the thicker.
right. Yeah, so I mean, this has been incredibly insightful. So I think, working with children always means working with parents, and as a thing that you said, and really understanding all the different dynamics, and for parents to also be willing to look at their own behavior and make some adjustments. And so, yeah, I don't see any questions on YouTube. I'm wondering if we have any questions here. I think this is such an important,
Maybe I have now one important
yes, please go
soul
ahead.
thing.
Yes, go ahead. Okay.
Because people, also adult people who have crossed eyes, they often have very different feelings, like there are two souls in my chest. So the one feeling is I'm feeling happy and everything is fine, and the other feeling is, oh no, there's absolutely nothing is right, or also with lots of love or hate. So it's very feelings are wide away. So I don't know how
very,
to
very
say.
different,
Yeah,
extreme
very
feelings.
different.
Yeah.
And yes, and to bring this more and more together, so yet that you can say you can feel good and you can feel bad, and this, but both at the same time, it's okay, it's fine. You can love somebody, but also you can have feelings. They has nothing to do with love. It's fine to have these different feelings at the same time. So to combine this more and more.
So there's extreme emotional swings in both directions, and you found that more with people with adults and children with cross-eyed versus other vision problems. That there's deep. Like I'm a Pisces sign, and I used to be very quiet in school. I was very shy because I was the only kid most of in my young years. There was one other boy in class, and he was like the professor, right? He knew the answer to everything, and I did not. And every time I would say something wrong, everybody would laugh at me. So I got to the point where I would just not say anything or raise my hand. And then it would always be like, oh, like in Germany, we would say, stille Wasser sind tief. So it's like quiet waters are deep, So I was like, that was like, we got all these labels as kids, right? I mean, it's kind of, oh yeah, anyway, I have one last question actually. So a lot of times when, especially with the Chinese approach, or we talk about the right side being more the male, the harder like energy and the more analytical, and then the left more the feminine and the creative. Have you found any observations depending if it's the right or the left eye, if there's any characteristics, or is that not really the case in your experience?
Yeah, I hold it for me. I not often tell parents about that, but sometimes it's very interesting which eye is moving. Is it more the father eye? Is it the mother eye? But it can be has a relationship to the mom or to the dad, but it can also be the inner part. So therefore you have to be very
Right.
no, yes.
You don't always know. There's not always a connection, because I remember I was super close with my dad, who passed away almost 30 years ago, and my right eye was in. So you would say, oh, I didn't want to be with my dad, but it was the opposite, where he was at work all day. And so so sometimes that simple idea of like, oh, it's not that simple,
My idea just was you want him closer to you.
or maybe, but I think sometimes we interpret too much, or unless we have really lots and lots of
But it
cases.
was just so I thought, oh, maybe a little
Yeah,
bit
okay,
closer.
maybe.
And then you said, he was always on work.
So basically, your approach is working with the children, working with the parents separately, and a lot of like soul emotional work. Then some of the cross crawling or like brain gym, where we do a lot of maybe the lazy eights, or a lot of that cross integration. And then you said you work with one eye at a time a lot when it comes to more the exercise things.
And much more is not needed. It's not so much to
yeah,
do. If you
yeah.
do these things, clapping, games, brain gym, one eye, the other eye, both together, drawing with iPads, having a good time, maybe also movings in a secure place, jumping games with one eye. in the garden or somewhere
Right,
very
right.
safe.
But making it
Um,
game, right?
it's not so much to do. It's more the I think it's so important for parents to get hope because very often they felt very guilty. I don't know why, but very often they felt very guilty that their child has crossed eyes. And I don't know why, but this is very important to find out what is why do they feel guilty and what can we do, which resources they need to feel better and to believe that there is a possibility to yeah, develop this in a good direction.
Okay, one last question I have. So, a lot of times parents, they want like, quote unquote homework. Like, so do you
Mhm.
give your families like do this game or that game, whatever, 3 times a week, or what do you do after the sessions?
Mm. Yes, they always get this thing with the stick, and they get sometimes the ball. If it's not too hard for the child, you have to look. It's not ever.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes it's too hard, and they get all the games for jumping and
Uh-huh.
throwing balls, and they get the big homework to the parents to watch their own child a little better,
Mm-hmm.
to watch the mood of the child a little better, to be more in a warm atmosphere with the child. This is the biggest homework.
Right, like reduce the pressure, observe your child,
Yes,
notice things,
take
listen,
out the pressure,
right?
take out the pressure, take out the
Yeah.
pressure. Yes.
Since you showed the ball again, can you show us a little bit more? I know this is not about, but so this is something that you do with younger children, but also 7-year-olds, they lay on their back. And what is the purpose of the letters? Tell us a little bit about you swinging the ball.
Yeah.
Uh,
Mm.
are you swinging it across the face, like
You
sideways?
can swing it. This is more for accommodation, and then
Right.
you can swing it. Therefore the letters are not so important. You can swing it from one to another side. You can take a normal ball so that
Right.
the view can follow right and left. You can bring it like in a circle.
Okay. But it's more tracking and following the ball as it moves, right? So,
Here you have not to follow the letters. It's too difficult, only the ball.
uh-huh.
But this is accommodation. You follow the letter and you say, okay, it's sharp, it's not sharp, sharp,
Got it,
not
got it,
sharp.
got it.
It's not important, but sharp, not important, not important, but interesting. So.
So are you making
That's really good for school kids. If somebody want to buy these balls, there is maybe you can write it in the chat.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Vision.de. Oh, Moment.
We have your website, so I have your Vision Viva Create, but is it
Yeah, no, no, it has nothing to do with me.
okay?
Um, these are in Germany the another way of schooling the eyes, and they
Oh,
have lots of material. I write it to you. At the moment not so sure. Vision, not vision.
you
No,
can
I'm
send
not
it
so
to
sure
me.
at
We
the
will
moment.
put it in the YouTube show notes
Yeah,
and we will send it out so that
yeah.
everybody, I want to get one of those
There are
balls.
many things they have. Many, many, many things for schooling. Yes, the eyes.
Okay. So it's a place where you can get learning supplies for school supplies, but also for vision, or is it
No, it's
just
only vision. It's not for
only
school.
vision? Okay,
Only
great.
for vision.
Okay.
Mm.
Yeah, I think to come to a close, what I hear from you, it's take pressure off, make it fun in games. Like where can we notice things, observe things, be more aware of our own behavior, observe the child, and feel less guilty. And because I think I understand the guilt because that at the end of the day, there's something wrong with your child, and everybody points it out, and the teacher says this and this, and then your parents, I can understand that there's a feeling of like what did I do wrong to cause,
Mm.
so
Mm.
all the parents out there, I feel for you. And we haven't even talked about screens. I'm sure, yeah, let's close with this advice. Like, what advice would you give? The things you put on your eye, those are eye patches, right? But then you said iPads. iPads are the digital, the tablets.
Ach so,
So
oh.
nowadays, right, kids are like on phones, like uh what it's really challenging for parents, I would assume. But what advice would you give parents of or grandparents of cross-eyed children in terms
Yeah.
of using screens and
Less
such?
tablet and less iPhones in the age of 1 to 3, because this is especially in the first year, it's so important, because this is the important year of developing eyes, and also the binoculary,
Yeah,
the two eyes bring together.
uh-huh.
Very, very important, not in the first year.
Yeah. Oh wow, I'm way stricter with that.
Yes, I don't want to say that because I know it's so difficult. I think the first 3 years would be much better. No, no tablet, no iPhone. Mm.
Yeah, in the US, a lot of the public schools have now switched to doing everything on iPads.
Yes,
I
yes,
kind
yes.
of lost track because my daughter's obviously graduated a long time ago, so I kind of lost track. But I know there's a huge trend toward digital devices, and that's again why I like Waldorf or Montessori schools that are
Hmm.
working wooden, like they work a lot
Yeah.
with like what we would call old-fashioned. And it's interesting in Waldorf schools. I forgot the year they're doing the computers, but we had the Computer Chaos Club talk about hacking, and kids learn this stuff so fast. So I feel like maybe nowadays we do it a little earlier, but we don't. The kids don't have to know how to use an iPad at like 2 years old. There's absolutely no reason. And think about for their visual development, how important it is to actually have 3D real world
Yes,
objects and
really,
not
really
flat
important.
screen, right?
Or the learning how it's,
Bouncing a ball, yeah.
yeah, when you clap a ball, and all this for the sense is so important.
So I think you only work in German. We listed all your website, your Instagram, your YouTube, but I think it's only in
Okay.
the language, right?
There's one video is in English. It's also
Okay.
about children. That was from the conference 2019, I
All
think.
right.
Very
But
interesting.
also
You can
Google
see.
Translate, right? Now, mostly most websites can be
Yeah,
translated, so
yeah.
you can at least your website, people can go and usually Google
And
pops
we
up.
have our book. Our book. I wrote in our English book about this theme, about two eyes, two personalities, connecting both sides for greater clarity. It's also in this direction. So very interesting.
Oh, I can't wait. So that just the book that you're talking about is an anthology of 40 authors,
Yes.
including Judith and myself, and we all contributed a chapter. This is written by 40 vision educators. That book, I don't know when it's exactly going to be available, but we will definitely talk about it. But there's a chapter that you wrote about the two personalities. I can't wait to read that. Thank you so much, Judith, for being here. I know it's super late for you in Germany. This was really insightful, and I hope everybody learned something about how it's not just a bunch of eye exercises that you do with your child that has cross-eyed or strabismus or any of those kind of misalignments of the eyes. So thank you so much.
Thank you,
We
Claudia, for inviting me.
Thank you. So yeah, and you check out her website. You can use Google Translate. You're doing amazing work. You've been doing it for 30 years in Germany. So you're one of the most established and esteemed vision educators in Germany. So thank you for being here. And everybody, make sure you click and subscribe to this channel. So every week I have amazing guests like you did on. And like this video, and please put any comments in the comment box. We will make sure to respond and to your questions. So thank you.